Okay, today we are going to see the topic center lathe and some special operations which are to be performed on the lathe. Okay, before starting, I will introduce myself. I am Arjun, Assistant Professor, Mechanical Engineering or CET. Okay, let's start the topic. Center lathe. First, we can see the construction. In the base of the lathe, it is called the lathe bed. Okay, lathe bed. The entire construction, the base is called lathe bed. It is made up of a very hard material. The material is very hard to withstand the entire weight which is to be placed above. So the base is very hardest material made up of almost made up of cast iron. So very hardest material. So it is called the lathe bed. So this metal. So this area will hold the entire weight as well as it absorbs huge amount of vibration. So the lathe bed is constructed in a way that it should withstand the entire weight as well as it should withstand the operations vibration, the entire vibration during operations also. So in that particular way, the lathe bed is created. So next is the saddle area. You see that this component is the saddle. Okay, this there is a lead screw in which the entire component is moved in a to and fro motion. Just above the saddle there is a compound rest. Just above the compound rest there is the tool post. In the tool post the cutting tool will be placed. Okay, that tool post is placed above the compound rest, and that compound rest is placed above the compound's cross slide, and that cross slide is placed in the saddle. Okay, this saddle moves with the entire setup that moves along the lead screw by this hand wheel. Okay, by rotating the hand wheel, the entire saddle will move in a to and fro motion, and it has a lock nut so that in which particular area you need this saddle, you can move in that particular area and you can lock the saddle. Okay, and this cross slide is for the movement of compound rest in angular way as well as in a to and fro motion, so that you can perform operations with the cutting tool in a workpiece. Okay, in the top, okay, there is the in the top left corner you have a headstock. Okay, this headstock is stationary in the left side. The headstock can't be movable. The headstock contains the motor, okay, or a mechanism for rotating the chuck. Okay, chuck is the component used for holding the workpiece. Okay, the headstock contains a motor or a separate mechanism with gears. Okay, it is stationary on the left side. This is used for rotating the chuck. Okay, rotating the spindle, chuck or spindle, because the chuck is attached to the spindle. Okay, so and the left side of the right, in the you have seen the headstock. In the right side, in the top right corner, there is a tailstock. The tailstock, and that is called, there is a dead center. Dead center means it is just for holding the workpiece. The dead center will be used. This tailstock is movable. The tailstock is movable in a to and fro motion. In the front or back, you can move the tailstock. The tailstock has a dead center that is used for a small minimum operations, as well as it is mainly used for holding the workpiece. Okay, the workpiece is placed between the live center and the dead center, and without live center you can work, because the workpiece will be folded by the chuck, as well as the rear end of the workpiece will be folded by the dead center, and the required operations will be done. So this is the basic construction and the working of center lathe. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, now types of chuck. There are here we are studying about three types of chuck. One is 3-jaw chuck, 4-jaw chuck, and magnetic chuck. Okay, this 3-jaw chuck. In the 3-jaw chuck there are 3 jaws. You see here, these are the jaws 1, 2, and 3. 3 jaws are available. These jaws are moved outwards and inwards radially. Okay, moved outwards and inwards radially. There is a will have a, for adjusting these jaws, you will have a separate keyway there in a particular area. On the top side of the chuck, you will have a separate keyway place. In that keyway, you will insert a adjusting nut, and rotating the nut will move the jaws in a front and back movement, the three-jaw chuck is used only for holding circular objects, circular workpieces. With three-jaw chuck, you can hold only the circular work pieces. Okay. The next one is four-jaw chuck. As well as in three-jaw chuck, with that single particular adjusting screw, you can adjust all the three jaws simultaneously. Okay, that is also one important thing in three-jaw chuck. And now in four-jaw chuck, you see here are four jaws. Okay, there are four jaws. Okay, these four jaws are movable in a outward and inward direction, but in this four-jaw chuck, for each and every jaw, separate keyway is available. Okay, in that particular separate keyways, okay, that particular jaw can be adjustable. Okay, each and every jaw, there is a separate keyway for adjusting the jaw in a front and back movement. Okay, likewise. In four-jaw chuck, you can hold even circular objects, or also you can hold irregular shapes or square shapes. So different types of shapes you can hold in the four-jaw chuck. So this is the major advantage of four-jaw chuck. And the next one is magnetic chuck. This is also used for holding irregular shapes or regular shapes. But in this chuck, you can hold only the workpiece which has the magnetic ability. Okay. Once you starts the engine, starts the lathe, then this chuck is magnetized. Okay, this magnetic chuck will be magnetized so that it will have some magnetic properties, so that you can hold the objects which has only the magnetic properties. So this is one of the major disadvantage in this magnetic chuck. Advantages, you can hold any type of objects, irregular shapes, regular shapes, anything you can hold in this magnetic chuck. Okay, now in this class, this is the main topic. We are going to study taper tanning methods in the lathe. So taper tanning, what is taper tanning? Producing a cross feed area, okay, like a small conical surface in the workpiece. That is the taper tanning operation. So the taper tanning operation is done in the lathe by some methods. The first one is farm tool method. Okay, the first one is farm tool method. So this is the farm tool. Okay, this is the farm tool. The farm tool will be in this shape. This farm tool is attached in the tool post, is fixed in the tool post, and the workpiece is held in the chuck here. Okay, the workpiece is held in the chuck here, and the farm tool is placed in the tool post. Okay, by adjusting the lead screw in the compound rest, you can move the workpiece in a to and fro motion. So this workpiece is moved towards to make contact with the tool, the cutting tool is moved towards to the workpiece to make contact with the workpiece. Okay, this cutting tool, when the cutting tool contacts the workpiece, okay, in the workpiece, the metal will be removed due to the friction of these two materials. So this is the cutting tool. This is hardest material than the workpiece. So due to that friction action, the metal in the workpiece will be removed. Okay, the farm tool will be in the particular shape. Only in that particular shape you can create the taper. Okay, only in that particular length you can create the taper. For example, if the farm tool's length is for 5 mm or 6 mm, you can produce the taper only for that 5 mm or 6 mm. You can't produce long tappers. So this is the major disadvantages in farm tool method. So okay, farm tool method means the farm tool is exactly in the shape of a tapper. So you can produce a tapper only in the length which is available as a farm tool. So next one is tailstock set over method. So in the tailstock set over method, in the chuck, the object will be, the workpiece will be held. It can be held by, it will be held by live center. Okay, here they won't hold the component, not held. They hold the component using the live center. They won't place the component in the chuck, because for a certain angle, we are stepping over the tailstock, so that it won't support in the chuck exactly. So in the chuck, they will place the live center, and with the live center, with the help of live center, they will hold the workpiece. In the other end of the workpiece will be held by the dead center in the tailstock. The tailstock is movable in a slight forward and backward movement crosswise. Okay, so that to the required angle. Okay, not any angle can be achieved. It will be moved for certain angle. So within that limit, if your taper length is required, you can adjust the tailstock to that particular movement. This is the axis. Okay, this is the axis here. This is the live center. In the exact axis in the line, they will the live dead center will be placed. In this method, they will move the dead center slightly down or up. That is in a this is the top view. Okay, so this is will be moved in a downward movement or upward movement. Okay, they will adjust the movement of the tailstock. Okay, after adjusting the movement of the tailstock, they will hold the workpiece in between the live center and dead center. In order to because the tailstock is adjusted stepped down to a certain length, by default the workpiece will be held in a angular way. It will not held in a straight manner. The workpiece will be held in a cross way. Okay, by using the cutting tool, you can use any cutting tool based on the workpiece. You have to choose the cutting tool. Okay, and by fixing the cutting tool in the tool post, by providing the cross feed to the workpiece, the metal will be removed. Because of the workpiece which is held in a cross manner, the metal removed will produce a taper surface. Metal removed will produce a taper surface. This is the tailstock setover method. By using this method, you can produce long taper, but the angle which you can produce is minimum. Okay, you can produce a long taper, but the angle you can produce by using this method is minimum. The next one is compound rest method. The compound rest method is nothing but it is very simplest method. The workpiece is held by the chuck. You can use a tailstock for holding the other end, or else that is not necessary. That won't be any problem. In the compound rest, there is an angular keyway adjustment. Okay, angular keyway adjustment. Okay, for the required angle, you can adjust the compound rest. Okay, you can adjust the compound rest. Compound rest, above the compound rest only you are placing the tool by using the tool head. Okay, so adjusting the compound rest will make some angular slide for the tool. So adjusting the compound rest to a particular angle and giving the cross feed will produce a tapered surface. Okay, this is the compound rest method. The main advantages of this method is you can produce a steep taper. High taper angle can be achieved, but the disadvantage is the taper is for a small length. The taper length will be very small using this compound rest method. Okay, the last method is taper tanning attachment method. Okay, taper tanning attachment method. They will make a special attachment here. This is the taper tanning attachment. This is the live center. This is the dead center in the lathe. The workpiece is held between the live center and dead center, and here you see this is the taper tanning attachment. Here you see this is the cross slide. Okay, this is the cross slide. In the other end of the cross slide, you will have a feed handle and the cutting tool. Okay, this cross slide is placed in a guide bar. Okay, this cross slide is placed in a guide block. Okay, the cross slide is placed in a guide block, and there is a guide bar here. Okay, this guide bar is fixed to the lathe surface by the locking screws with some angular adjustment. Okay, so the guide bar can be tilted to the required angle and it is fixed on the lathe surface. Okay, the guide bar is tilted to an required angle and it is placed on the fixed on the lathe surface. The guide block can only move on the guide bar. Okay, the guide block can be only move on the guide bar. If the guide bar is tilted to the particular angle, the guide bar will move in that angular way, so that this entire cross slide and the feed will be moved in the angular movement. Due to this movement, okay, the tool will be removed and the taper surface will be achieved. So using this method, you can achieve a long and steep taper simultaneously. So this is the taper tanning attachment method. So That's all for today. So thank you. We can continue another topic in another video.